while we are coming to the end of DZBTO5, moving into Korokoro and the year of our Lord Chronos Command Dragon, today I wanted to take a look back at a deck that I didn't really follow through, but at the same time, nobody really wanted me to follow through, but I decided I still want to talk about this deck because I feel it's pretty impactful in the meta, whether you know it or not. It's Welstra. It's Blitz. Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Season4 here. Today I am back to do another deck discussion style video for Welstra. Yes, don't worry, this deck is not going to get hit by the ban list, probably. But today I want to talk about this in this format because Welstra is a deck that has been talked about a lot, not a lot, and not in a significant way either. Which is why, even though I did a deck profile for Welstra Blitz Arms in DZBTO1, like, nobody cared. I don't know, nobody liked that video. But regardless, then I found out that it's just because Welstra, despite it being one of the most powerful decks in my opinion from this year, it's not very popular. It takes a lot of skill to learn this deck, and this deck only got its subsidy reprint in Festival with Fry Heights. But by the time that happened, everyone just kind of became black, which is like, I guess. So it was kind of disappointing to me to see Welstra kind of disappear in a sense, but yet he keeps getting more and more stronger cards like Vanguard, who in my opinion is one of the most deadliest cards in DZBTO4. But you know, public opinion doesn't seem to really move the Welstra because they just shifted to black, which is strange. But alright, sure, whatever it is. Today, to join us on our quest to look at Welstra's year in review in front of investors, today we have Nami.
Hey guys.
So again, just to preface this really quickly, this is just to talk about Welstra, in terms of what we can do for him, how you can play it in a sense, and how you can counter it as well. Because the knowledge you learn from this deck does kind of help you beat black, and it does help you fight Welstra, because Welstra I still think is a pretty good meta pick for this format, but I'm not. What do I know at this point? So let's go through the quick deck profile with that out of the way.
Alright, so I won't be going through the skills too in-depthly, but quick deck profile is we're playing the right line, Wharton from the DZ, Straza and Uber. They're evolution forms because we are playing the Blitz Welstra.
So tell us what the right line does at home.
Okay, so the grade 1 allows you to search for when it's rolled upon by grade 2, you can search for a product that is grade equals to or less than your Vanguard. It gets your play started. And the grade 2, it allows you to operate a product when it attacks by energy blasting 3. And when it's rolled upon by a Vanguard with the Divine skill that has Welstra in its card name, you can Soul Blast 1 and discard 1 and search your deck for 2 products of different grade that is different from the one that's currently in your order zone and add it to your hand. So it's a hyper consistent, very quick right line that no matter how bad Welstra's starting hand is, he always has a good baseline starting point.
Alright, so let's talk about the grade 3s first.
Okay, so we have the big man Welstra himself. He is the Divine skill user. His first skill is when he attacks, uses Energy Blast to operate when one of your products, and he gains 10k. And his second effect is Divine skill. Act once per fight. You are able to counterblast 1, choose 2 different products from your hand, put them into your order zone, and operate one of those and operate one product in your order zone. You can resolve this however you want. So you can resolve the product's on-place effects before you start using the operations actual effects, so you can draw your cards before maybe looking top 5 for the battle or retiring your opponent's radar with Righteous Maximum. Moving on to the rest of the grade 3s, we are playing 2 copies of Righteous Maximum and 3 copies of Orianta. So these are the primary baseline products that you are going to be operating. Orianta has 2 effects. Its first effect is when it's put into the order zone, you can energy blast, you can energy charge 3 and draw 1 as long as you have a Blitz named Vanguard. And for Fractious Maxim, and his second effect is when he's operated by a Vanguard with Divine skill during the battle phase, you can retire one of your opponent's Vanguard, minus 10,000 power to their Vanguard, and deal them 1 damage if they are at 4 damage or less. But it can only be operated the turn after it's set. So during the turn itself, set you can't touch it. So it's basically a turn 4 card. But once you do hit that turn 4, you are consistently hitting minusing them a lot, and you are doing a lot of pressure. For Fresh Shoots Maximum, continuous, it can't be played normally into the auto zone, so you have to use skills to put him into the auto zone.
Yep.
And its effect is when it's operated, you can choose one of your opponent's rear guards, retire it, and give your opponent's Vanguard minus 5k. Then you can counterblast one to choose one of your rear guards, return it to hand, and call Fresh Shoots Maximum to an open rear guard circle. So it's very important that it's open rear guard circle, otherwise you can't call him. So you can't just bounce the back row, call over the front row thinking, hey, you're playing around control. No, that is not how this deck works. We play 2 because you can search out all of your products really quickly, so you don't have to worry about them. The only places you have to worry about is if Fresh Shoots Maximum goes in a damage. If any of your products go into the damage zone, that is the zone that you can't really touch your products in. Any other zone is free game.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our grade 2s. We play 3 copies of Lubetzel. I like to call it the airbase. Freiheit, 4 copies, and Liel and Valtrosa at 4 copies. Okay, so the grade 2 line in the product, Lubetzel, very important for your early game. When it's put into order zone, you can draw 1, soul charge 1 as long as you have a Blitz named Vanguard. And its second effect is when it's operated during the main phase, you can check top 5 to call 1 rearguard that is grade equals to or less than your Vanguard, or when it's operated during the battle phase, you can draw 1 instead. You want to see this card in your opening hand, but you don't want to see too many of them, because this card really burns through your deck. The more of this you play, the more likely you are to deck out, which is why I'm only opting to play at 3, but most people do play at 4. Okay, then we have Freiheit, the man of the hour for Welstra. So he has just 2 effects. The first effect is when he's placed on rearguard circle, you can counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Search your deck for a card with the same name as your Vanguard or a product, add it to your hand, and then if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Welstra and its card name, you can put a product from your hand into the auto zone. So this allows you to cheat out your Fresh Shoots Maximum conditions. Its second effect is auto. When it attacks, you can Soul Blast 2 and operate a product in your auto zone. So he is your additional operator, and he is one of the most important cards in this deck, which is why you always want to prioritize bouncing him back to your hand when you have the opportunity to with Maximum. Next, we have Valtrosa and Liel. So her effect is when she's placed on rearguard circle from hand, you can choose a normal unit or in order from your drop zone, return it to the bottom of the deck. Then you can counterblast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and add up to 1 order that is not a Regulus piece, or call a normal unit that is grade equals to or less than your Vanguard. Call a unit, not a normal unit, but it's up to lah. So this allows you to quickly search for Lubetzel on turn 2 if you haven't found him in your starting hand. Usually you want to let your opponent hit you early game so that you can spam this out. Otherwise, there is a lot of grade 1 targets that are perfect for calling out, or you can just add any product. So there is a lot of hits in this deck for this card.
A lot.
Yeah. Lastly, moving on to the grade 1s. We play 1 copy of Kennel, 4 PGs, including 1 Elementary Sanctitude, 4 copies of Fenlita, our newest support, 2 copies of Ainz, 2 copies of Bowman, and 2 copies of Sortian. But just to preface, Bowman and Sortian, they play the same role but in different contexts. Sortian, your main phase countercharger; Bowman, your battle phase countercharger. Both are important. Sortian is more important if your hand is filled with Liel Valtrosa. Bowman if your hand is filled with Freiheits. Then we have Ainz. He is really good to just cycle through your deck as fast as possible. We only play him as a 2-off because anything more than that, he's just a brick, or you are cycling your card. I mean, it's just Upstart Goblin in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you know what it is. As long as
it just moves to the soul when you play a
grade 2 or greater
set order and you just draw a card. That's it.
Yes.
So just a net 0/1 draw. That's it. But it goes to the soul, which
And just so you know, most of your products are drawing cards anyway, so you are cycling through your deck really
yeah.
fast.
4 PG, because you need to stay alive, fellas. And then copy of the doghouse. Doghouse
Is your grade 1 product search target. If you already have Lubetzel in your hand when you're riding up to your grade 2, usually you are searching out for your grade 1 anyway, because it has an effect when it's discarded, you can either put it to your soul or into your auto zone. So it's a free discard from your ride up from grade 2 to grade 3.
Speaking of discards.
Yep. Fenlita, she is the new support and she really just busts Welstra right open. So her first effect is...
Whoa. That's workplace sexual harassment.
Sure, why not? So she has the first effect when she is discarded during your turn.
Yes.
If you have a Vanguard with Welstra and its card name, you can call her to Rearguard Circle.
Now it doesn't matter with the divine skill or not, so you can play her in Seal Welstra, Divine Welstra, or Black.
Yeah, so she's a great outlet to discard during your ride phase. So if you have 2 of her, when you're riding up from 2 to 3, you can discard 1 of her, call her out, use the Uber skill, discard 1, Soul Blast 1, call the other one out. Now you have basically not minus anything. And you have created a board out of nowhere. Her second effect is act once per turn, Energy Blast 4, and choose one of the products in your auto zone and operate it that has grade equals to or less than your opponent's Vanguard. Then reduce the cost of its counterblast by 1. So if you operated Fractious Maximum, congratulations, Fractious Maximum's call effect is now free. Otherwise, you can play on Lubetzel, but it is very low value and you only do it in desperate times when you need to search for the Freiheits.
Yep. And then our triggers are just exactly this. 7 crit, 4 front, 4 heal, 1 alternate win condition. The idea for 4 front is very simple because you always have a front row. This deck is pretty aggressive, and then you can dump the power. It helps you match your minusing powers from your opponent's Vanguard, and then you can win the game. So the crit doesn't really matter in that sense because the number of attacks you make will always
Once you push them to 4 damage and you're pinging them for Oriental, the crit doesn't matter.
Yeah, the crit really doesn't
the
matter.
front is more valuable.
So make sure you read your Will Dress Season 2, guys, because that's where we learn all these cute tricks from.
And we don't play draws because
we draw a lot.
And Lubetzel is the deck out turbo machine.
Okay, so that covers the entire deck. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for, now that you know how to play it, how do you counter it?
Actually, okay, let's put yourself in the shoes of the Welstra player first. What do you want to do when you are going up from 1 to 2 to 3? So early game, grade 1, you're not doing anything. Just leave it be. From 1 to 2, that is when things start to happen. The cards that you exactly want to have going from 1 to 2 is Lubetzel and Vartrosa Liael. So these 2 are your primary early game aggro. And if you don't have them, it gets very difficult.
Yep.
If you already have Lubetzel, like I said before, you are searching for the doghouse so that you have a discard outlet for the following turn. Vartrosa Liael is your fallback net in case you don't see the Lubetzel early game, and you just need to look at the top 5 to just dig for another piece. The card that you usually are discarding from grade 1 to grade 2, you feel free to discard any copies of Persona, right? Any excess copies of the grade 1s that you normally run, so the counter charges. These are usually your early game discards. If you never discard Freiheits unless you have 3 or more copies of him in your hand. He is the key piece, and worst comes to worst, absolute worst case scenario, you are calling him on turn 2 to CB1, discard 1, search your deck for Lubetzel. Then you play the Lubetzel.
Yeah.
So there are the grade 2s are able to get you into Lubetzel, and once you're on Lubetzel, Uber's Energy Blast 3 is able to net you back the 1 draw, and Lubetzel itself is another
1 draw.
So early game, you are pretty much insulated from a lot of things. So, but that is where the weakness is. If you don't see Lubetzel, early game, you are having a very difficult time.
Okay, but how do you beat that? Like, I can't walk up to you and eat Lubetzel from your hand, right? Like, what exactly are you implying for your audience to do?
So, if you your opponent does have a set amount of chance of opening Lubetzel.
Yes.
But in the scenarios that they do not, that is when you want to capitalize. If you are going second, do not attack into your opponent's grade 1. This is the
Does that
most...
apply going first too?
No, it does not.
Why?
Okay, so compared to going first, you have the turn advantage over Welstra because of Orianta being a turn 4 kind of play, the grade 3 product. As long as you're going first and you're able to outrush Welstra, this is not much of a problem. But if you are going second, then you have to really think. All right, you have to be the player who controls Welstra's tempo. Welstra's tempo is really dictated by the amount of counterblast he has.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have Lubetzel, he needs to CB1 with either of his other grade 2s to even search for the Lubetzel.
Right.
If he is setting the kennel for his grade 2 turn, that is basically that is basically 2 turns of tempo basically lost. This is you no longer have the kennel to discard for your right deck, and you no longer have the additional soul generated by the kennel, which then you have less soul to work with when you're on Freiheits. I know the rest of the grade 1 slots all say put themselves into soul, but these aren't things you want to rely on.
Yeah, definitely not.
Because the grade 1s are not the pieces you want to see in your hand. The only grade 1 you want to see mainly in your hand early game is Fenlita. And this is the other card that you hope that your opponent doesn't open.
So your advice is just eat my opponent's hand. Just walk up and start chewing.
Okay. If they open this, and you are going second, remember they can only operate a product that is grade equals to or less than your Vanguard. Right? So the advice I give to players who are fighting against Welstra, turn 1, if you are going second, don't bother dealing them damage.
Okay.
Turn 2, if you are going second, at most deal 1 damage.
Just one. So
just one.
Your Vanguard attack enter.
That's right.
Okay.
So as you know, Welstra only has one form of main phase counter charge, and that is Sortian. So Sortian has the caveat where he has to be on the field already when you play the order. I say 1 damage is all you should be dealing to Welstra if you're going second, because that 1 damage...
Wait, I thought you mean going first. Going second, don't give, right?
Yeah, going second. That is the 1 damage you give to them when you're going from when you're on your grade 2 turn. Right? So Welstra will basically be locked to only the divine skill. Unless they hard draw into Sortian, that's all they have for the turn. They will not be able to extend it into further plays with maximum.
Okay.
So the biggest threat of Welstra, if they go first, is double maximum. A 5 attack turn where your Vanguard will be at the negative powers. Alright? The more damage you deal to them, the more damage they have to work with for maximum.
Right.
Even if they have the 1 damage face down and they draw into Bobo Mine, let's say, they still have to attack suboptimally in such a way where they have to countercharge with Bobo Mine first, then they use an operation on maximum. Right. So usually in these scenarios, the lowest roll that you can hope that the Welstra player does, if you're playing with what I tell you, is they don't draw into Lubetzel.
Yeah.
When they search during their first grade 3 right turn, they search for 1 Lubetzel, they search for 1 maximum, and they use their divine skill on this. They use Lubetzel to check top 5 for a rearguard and not use a maximum. With this, you are basically guaranteeing your survival into the following turns. If you're okay, the next thing you want to look out for is Orianta. Orianta is a very deadly card, but it is a card that can be easily played around.
How so?
Okay, so Orianta says you have to be a 4 or less damage, then it pings you 1 damage. That 1 damage really matters because it's that 1 extra chance for you to see a defensive, right? If a Welstra player is going for an Orianta turn, they are unable to do a 5 attack turn. That is just a fact of the matter.
Right.
If they are going for the 5 attack turn, they are operating Orianta is suboptimal. I would say suboptimal. They will attack with Freiheits on rearguard, so they'll be attacking with rearguards first, then you just guard the early ones. So usually on their 4th turn, you'll see Orianta, you'll see a maximum. You are at 4 or less damage. They attack with Vanguard first, operate Orianta, ping 1 damage, attack with Freiheits, operate maximum but not use its effect, attack with the other Freiheits, operate maximum this time, and hopefully, for the Welstra player, they hope that they have reduced the cost of the maximum using Fenlita's effect, and they just bounce, call, and that's the maximum pressure that they can output with Oriantal. Although I say maximum pressure, it is still a lot of pressure. So PGs are your best friend against Welstra. What I say against a Welstra player, if you have 3 or more PGs, you have basically won the game.
Sounds about right. So the TLDR to beat Welstra is 1, against their grade 2 game. If you are going first, you can still attack into them with 1 damage, that's fine. If you're going second, don't bother dealing them a counter blast. That's the first tip you're saying, right?
Correct.
The second tip you are saying is that because of the nature of all their counter charges, that's why you're even doing this, and because of stuff like your Uriante, you generally want to have a high number of perfect guards in your hand, and then at the same time, it's also a very good idea for you to actually take up to 5 damage in the first turn 3 combo to ensure that their Uriante doesn't exactly profit off the extra 1 ping, because you're at 4, they deal you to 5. Is that what you're saying?
No, keep yourself at 4, because it is more dangerous if they do the 5 attack turn, because it'll be an extra attack for you to guard against.
Okay.
It is honestly better to just leave yourself at 4, take the 1 damage that they are going to ping you, and they only have 4 attacks in total compared to the 5, if 5, and you are stuck at 5 damage, forcing you to guard everything.
Oh, okay. So you're basically trying to force the Welstra player into using Uriante to give you the extra damage.
Uriante is technically suboptimal now that we have Fenlita in the mix. Because whenever Fenlita is in the mix, maximum is no longer the CD sync that it once was. Fenlita is an energy blast 4 and Welstra is an energy blast 2. Together they are an energy blast 6. Every turn, you get 3 energy for free for starting the turn.
Yep.
And if they play 1 copy of Oriantal, that is plus 3 energy, which is equals to net zero between the 2 of them. So every turn, they play 1 Oriantal, or like they turbo through their Oriantals. Trust me, you can see, if you give your Welstra opponent enough damage, you can see 6 orders in their order zone on their turn 3 turn. It is not a joke. Alright, so if you don't want to see your Welstra opponent wombo comboing you, please be aware of what they can do with the damage that you deal them, and so don't give them that damage to work with.
Don't give it to them early.
Don't give it to them early, because late game there is only so much they can do. Because once they have gone through all the orders in the deck, Freiheits no longer has a search target.
Right.
If you want to discard Fenlita, she's on the field. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're not going to discard her. You're going to discard all the shield. So basically, just damage deny them early.
On that topic too, I should also mention, given the nature of Welstra's board building and whatnot, I would say one last counter is technically playing high amounts of control. If you're playing a control deck like, say, Blanky-Maya, Gandiva, Eugene,
yes,
I think that would be pretty beneficial actually, right? If you can maintain a small board for yourself, but also keep destroying the areas. What do you think?
correct. If you have a chance, the main rearguard you want to destroy is Freiheits.
Oh, definitely.
If you have a way to attack into Freiheits, then the other target you want to destroy is Fenlita, because no other rearguard on the field is going to matter. This
is on place.
On place, job done. That's it. Everyone else moves into
the soul, so they don't matter.
They don't exist. So if you have control, I mean, these are valuable targets, but usually if your Welstra opponent's smart, they are bouncing it back to hand. But if you're smart, your Welstra opponent doesn't have the CB to bounce it back to hand. Yep. So this is why Welstra players, I'm sorry that all the secrets are now out, but we need to move on.
Okay, but talking about that, let's wrap up this video. Do you think Welstra has succeeded as a deck in its first year in DivineZ?
Yes, it has. It has absolutely overshot what its potential originally was as CEO Welstra. The main problem that CEO Welstra had was setting up Fractious Maximum, which was his only play. And with the DivineZ support, having not only a new product, a way to turbo Fractious Maximum, and a way to turbo search your orders, these really help give that consistency that the deck needed to just go through the deck as much as possible. And not only that, being able to have the extra 4 cards moving into the DivineZ era from pre-DivineZ era really does give the deck some stability, because it used to have a major deck out problem.
And now it doesn't.
Yes. Also, if your Welstra opponent is playing Tour, they are a bad player or a poor player. And if they are playing Virginia, ask them why. Ask them why. Because honestly, this is a better Virginia.
Yeah, but some people just like the office goals.
I mean, Soul Blast 2 to draw one is something, but you'd rather use the Soul to, operate
With Frights.
And if you are having issues with drawing cards, just search your orders faster, I guess.
So, thank you so much, Nami, for coming to the channel today. Always a pleasure to have you. And that covers our little deck discussion on Welstra. I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. I learned a lot today myself. But yeah, really, I think this is a deck that's just not talked about correctly or in depth enough. So that's really why I just wanted to have you to settle the score before we end year 1 with Kronos Command. Are you ready for Kronos Command?
He might send my Regas to the bottom of the deck, but if they're all in my hand, what's he gonna send?
What's he gonna send? Where did he go? So thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye. Black.